So we already discussed classification of signals and singularity functions. In this particular lecture, we will discuss the other basic signals: exponential, rectangular, triangular, and parabolic, and sinc function. Okay. The previous lecture, we discussed about the singularity function. They are known as impulse, step, and ramp. Now we'll start with the exponential signal. So when you write an exponential signal, uh, so this is the general form: x of t is equal to a e raised to alpha t, or simply at, or something. And we'll take a special case that alpha value is equal to 0. Okay. If alpha is equal to 0, the equation becomes x of t, it's simply a e raised to 0, and a raised to 0 is equal to 1, so which is equal to a. So irrespective of t, the function magnitude is a. So when t is equal to 0, when t is equal to 1, t is equal to 2, okay, 1, 2, 3, or at minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, at or any value of t, the function magnitude is a. So that's why x of t is equal to a. It's a constant. So you'll have constant amplitude a from minus infinity to infinity. So this signal is known as a DC signal. So average value of the signal, that is A. Okay. Now we'll discuss the another case when the value of A e raised to alpha t and alpha is greater than 0. For example, you can consider a special case that is A value is equal to 1 and alpha is equal to some 2. Okay. So we can approximate this graph. So this is the time axis at t is equal to 0, uh, and we need to plot the signal x of t is equal to a is equal to 1, so 1 into e raised to 2t. Okay. So at t is equal to 0, if you substitute the value, it becomes at t is equal to 0, it becomes e raised to 0. E raised to 0 is equal to 1. So at t is equal to 0, the function magnitude is 1. And we can evaluate the value at t is equal to minus infinity, that is extreme left. Okay, in this direction. Okay, so when t is equal to minus infinity, it becomes e raised to 2 into minus infinity, which is equal to 1 by e raised to minus infinity, which is equal to 1 by e raised to infinity. E raised to infinity is infinity, so 1 by infinity, which is approximately 0. So when t is tending to minus infinity, the function magnitude is almost 0. So it will be like this. Okay. And now we can try what's the value of at t is equal to infinity. At t is equal to infinity, the equation becomes e raised to infinity, that is infinity. So when t is tending to infinity, the function magnitude is infinity. So at t is equal to 0, the function value is 1. So it will be something like this, and an exponentially growing signal. Okay, so point 1. So if the amplitude a is not equal to 1, the function grows at this particular point, that is a. Okay, so this is the general behavior of the exponential signal. Exponential signal in a two-sided sequence, and it starts from minus infinity to infinity. So this is known as the exponentially growing signal. Now we'll discuss the other case when this alpha value is equal to 1 and alpha value is equal to some negative value, so let it be minus 2. So we need to plot the graph for a specific value, uh, x of t, is equal to e raised to minus 2t. Okay, again, at t is equal to 0, it's e raised to 0. E raised to 0 means it's 1, and you can evaluate the value at t is equal to infinity. If t is equal to infinity, it becomes e raised to minus 2 into infinity, that is e raised to minus infinity, which is equal to 0. So at t is equal to 0, sorry, at t is equal to infinity, the function becomes 0. Now we can evaluate at t is equal to minus infinity, okay, in this direction, extreme left. At this particular point, the function magnitude is e raised to minus 2 is already there, and you put minus infinity. So it becomes e raised to infinity, which is equal to infinity. So function starts from infinity and goes to 1, and finally it reaches to infinity. So an exponentially is not a straight line, it's an exponentially decaying signal. So I can call it as this is an exponentially decaying signal. Okay, at t is equal to infinity, the function magnitude becomes 0. Okay, so this is an exponentially decaying signal, and please make sure that this is not a constant value, straight line. It's a curve, and the curve follow the exponential values. Okay, so there's a sudden increase when the value of t increases, okay, or decreases. Okay, this is a general behavior of continuous time real exponential signal, because this alpha value is a real quantity. Okay, make sure that these two terms, this is a real exponential signal, or simply the alpha value. Okay, this alpha value is real. Okay, and this is a continuous time. Now we will go to the discrete time version of an exponential signal, and in the case of exponential signal, discrete time exponential signal, instead of e, we'll put a, okay, a general constant, that a raised to n for all n. Okay, there will be 4 cases. We will evaluate each one. First we will take if alpha value is greater than 1. So if x raised to n is, for example, you can assume that it is 2 raised to n. If it is 2 raised to n, you can see that n is equal to 0. Okay, this is discrete time signal, and here n is equal to 0. N is equal to 0 means you will get 2 raised to 0 is equal to 1, and when n is equal to 1, it becomes 2, 2 raised to 1, and when it is n is equal to 2, it becomes 2 square, so it will be like this. Okay, so that is 4, and when n is equal to minus 1, it is 2 raised to minus 1. Okay, 2 raised to minus 1 means it's 1 by 2, so it becomes 0.5. And again, at minus 2, it 2 raised to minus 2, so 2 raised to minus 2 means 1 by 2 square, which is equal to 1 by 4. So you can see that it's an exponentially growing signal. Okay, so this is the case when a is equal to 1, a is greater than 1. Okay, so this is the case when a is greater than 1. So this is first example, and now we'll take the second case, uh, when a values between 0 and 1. Let it be a 0.2. Okay, assume that a value is equal to 0.2. If a value is equal to 0.2, we can try the behavior of the graph. At t is equal to, sorry, n is equal to 0, it becomes 0.2 raised to 0, which is equal to 1, and when a is equal to 0.2, sorry, n is equal to 0.2, it becomes 0.2. Okay, when 2 is 0.2 the whole square. Okay, so it's again a small value. Now we can evaluate at minus 1, uh, 0.2 raised to minus 1, so it becomes 1 by 0.2. Okay, which is higher than this 1. Okay, so it's fine. So similarly, the value increases towards left side. So it's an exponentially decaying signal. So this is a growing behavior. This is a decaying, because when n increases, the function magnitude decreases. Okay, so this is the general behavior of this function when this a value is between 0 and 1. Now we can evaluate the value of a, which is less than minus 1. So we can assume that the a value is minus 2. So if a is equal to minus 2, you can see the behavior. So at n is equal to 0, it's minus 2 raised to 0, which is equal to 1. At n is equal to 1, it's minus 2 uh, minus 2 raised to 1, which is equal to minus 2. So you need to draw a line like this, minus 2. Next, at 2, minus 2 the whole square. Okay, so you'll get positive value and 4. So next value will be like this. So you'll get alternate plus and minus value. So that's why it follows this particular behavior, and it's a growing signal. Okay, it's growing, but alternatively it becomes positive and negative. For negative values of n, sorry, odd values of n, okay, the function magnitude becomes negative. Now we'll see another example when the value of a is between minus 1 to 0. Okay, so for this particular case, you will get a signal which is decay signal, but alternatively positive and negative. We can try this by substituting any other value. For example, a is equal to minus zero point 0.2. Okay, so if you draw this particular graph at n is equal to 0, you'll get 1. At n is equal to 1, you will get minus zero point 0.2 all raised to 1. So you'll get minus 0.2. At n is equal to 2, okay, it becomes minus 0.2 the whole square. So it becomes plus, okay, and 0.2 all square, it becomes 0.04. Okay, so it is again a small value. Okay, so you will get alternatively positive and negative value, and the function is decay. So you're getting a decaying behavior, but alternatively positive and negative. So when you take a discrete time signal, you will get a 4 different cases, but in the case of real-time exponential signal, a continuous time signal, there is only 2 cases. Okay, so now uh, when in the case of discrete time signal, so you need to make sure that the value of a, based on the value of a, you will get 4 different graph. Okay, now we will discuss another category. They are known as a complex exponential signal. So the constant value or the exponential factor, in this particular case, a e raised to st, and this s is a complex value. Okay. So this is another category. This is a general equation for an exponential signal where s is a complex number, and the general format is sigma j omega, where sigma is a real quantity and omega is the imaginary factor. Okay, j omega is the imaginary term, and if you substitute this s is equal to sigma plus j omega, it becomes a e raised to st or a e raised to sigma plus j omega t. So you can split this, it becomes e raised to j omega t into e raised to j omega, e raised to sigma t into e raised to j omega t. So this is an exponential term. So it's something like a raised to m plus n can be written as a raised to m into a raised to n. So by Euler's formula, we know that e raised to j theta, okay, is equal to cos theta plus j sin theta. So if you consider this particular term, this is an exponential term, exponential term with a complex factor. This is a real term. So if it is an imaginary term at the power, you can write as Euler's formula. So a e raised to sigma t in cos omega t plus j sin omega t. So the behavior of the signal contain a sinusoidal behavior plus an exponential behavior. E raised to sigma t is a exponential signal, real-time exponential signal, and the remaining part contain the sinusoidal factor. So we will get different signals. So first case, if s is equal to 0, that is the exponential term is 0, uh, s is equal to 0, so we get e raised to 0, e raised to 0 is equal to 1. So your equation is simply a. So x of t, you can write a into e raised to 0, which is equal to a. Okay, so it's a constant signal. So this is a DC signal. Now we can consider another case where omega value is equal to 0. If omega value is equal to 0, equation becomes x of t is equal to e raised to sigma t into e raised to 0, which is simply your real-time exponential signal. We already discussed that exponential signal. So you'll get a e raised to sigma t. Okay, and if sigma value is less than 0, that is sigma is negative, you'll get a decaying signal. Okay, you get a decaying exponential signal. Now you can consider another case where omega value is equal to 0, sorry, omega is equal to positive quantity and not, omega is equal to 0, sigma is a positive value. So you'll get x of t equal to a e raised to, here sigma is negative and here sigma is positive, into e raised to 0. Okay, so this is an exponentially growing sequence. We already discussed the exponentially growing sequence. Now we'll discuss another case uh, where sigma value is equal to 0. So in this particular example, sigma is equal to 0. So you'll get an expression which is x of t is equal to a e raised to j omega t, because e raised to 0, which is equal to 1. So this e raised to j omega t is cos omega t plus j sin omega t. So it's a sinusoidal signal. There are two parts. Either we can plot the real portion. Okay, assume that we are plotting the real portion. So it's simply a sinusoidal signal. So you'll get x of t into a e raised to j omega t. So the behavior will amplitude will maximum amplitude will be a. Okay, if you are plotting the real part only. So if you are plotting the real part of x of t. Okay, and now we'll discuss another case where the sigma value is less than 0. So less than 0 means you will get e raised to minus sigma t, okay, into e raised to j omega t and a also. Okay, so this is a signal. So here you can see there will be two part. E raised to minus sigma t means it's a decaying exponential signal. Okay, and if we are multiplying this decaying exponential signal with a sinusoidal signal, e raised to j omega t is a sinusoidal signal, and if you are multiplying these two signal, you will get an exponentially decaying sinusoidal waveform. Okay, so this is a sinusoidal behavior and also an exponential behavior. The sigma value is negative, so you'll get an exponentially decaying sinusoidal signal. Okay, so you can write exponentially decaying sinusoidal signal. Now we can see that here sigma value is greater than 0, that is sigma is positive, so you'll get x of t is equal to a raised to sigma t. Sigma is positive, means it's a growing signal, into e raised to j omega t. Okay, so again e raised to j omega t means it's an sinusoidal behavior, so we'll get exponentially growing sinusoid. Okay, similarly in the case of discrete time signal, so in order to indicate the two part, the real part we'll write a raised to n, and complex term is e raised to j uh, omega. Okay, simply you can write a raised to n. If you write the exponential term, it will be like this: e raised to, you need one term here, e raised to n, and e raised to j omega n. Okay, so instead of that you will write this is a raised to n for simplicity, and the next term is e raised to j omega t. So it contain both a real and complex term. Okay, so we already discussed what happens if a value is different. Now if a value is greater than 1, we know that if sigma is greater than 0, okay, the same behavior. And here in the discrete time case, it is a greater than 1. Okay, so please refer the previous slide. So here a greater than 1, if a greater than 1, it follows this particular pattern. So and sinusoidal values are also there, because it's an e raised to j term. It's a, by Euler's formula you can say that it's cos omega 0 n plus phi plus j sine omega 0 n plus phi. So you'll get alternatively positive and negative, and it's a sinusoidal behavior. Okay, so growing sinusoidal. And when a is less than 1, you will get a decaying sinusoidal signal. So these are the two behavior of a discrete time signal. You can also draw many other cases, but we'll limit our explanation for these two signals. Okay. So now we'll discuss some other basic signal. First one is a unit parabolic function. Okay. So actually the continuation of singularity functions. Singularity function we defined r of t, that is the ramp signal. Okay, which is equal to t for t greater than 0 and 0 for t less than 0. Okay, if you integrate this particular signal, you will get t square by 2. So you can write the parabolic function t square by 2 is also the continuation of singularity function. So if you integrate this function, you will get t square by 2. So this is the general behavior of t square by 2 and for t greater than 0. Okay. Now we can discuss another important function, and that is a rectangular pulse function, or is also known as gate function. Okay, or a pulse. So the general equation is pi t by tau. Okay, it's also written as rectangle of t. Okay, rectangle of t by tau. Okay, so the very important factor, if you write tau at the denominator, it's actually indicating the width of the pulse. So the total width of the pulse is indicated at the denominator. So here it is tau. So it will be tau by 2 at the right side and minus tau by 2 on the left side. So it's an even function in this particular case, and the magnitude is written here, that is 1. And here you can see its modulus of t less than tau by 2. Okay, so when you write modulus, is actually indicating t can take two values, that is t less than tau by 2 and minus t less than tau by 2. And if you rearrange t less than t by 2, and if you multiply with minus, it becomes t and minus tau by 2. So now we need to change the sign, so it becomes t greater than minus tau by 2, because if you write minus 2 is less than, sorry, uh, minus 3 is less than minus 2. Okay, so we know that minus 3 is less than minus 2, and if you multiply with minus, it becomes 3 and 2. So then you need to change the sign. So here you can see that it is greater than minus t by 2. This is one case, and it is less than t by 2 or tau by 2. So we can combine these two things by using a letter modulus of t. So instead of writing two limits, you can simply write modulus of t less than tau by 2. Okay. Otherwise, you need to write this particular condition, that is the function is something like this: minus tau by 2 uh, less than tau by 2. And so instead of writing this lengthy statement, you can simply write modulus of t. So when there is modulus of value, you need to consider two cases, positive and negative. Then only you can find the limit. Okay. So this is a rectangular function, and it's very important the denominator part indicating the width of the function. So similarly, if you are using, for example, a rect g by, for example, it is 2a, it is written something like this. The function you need to plot, this is 0 towards right, it's the total width of the pulse is 2a. Okay, for example, if you are writing a rectangular t 2a means this is a here, and here it is minus a, because the width of the function is given as 2a, and the amplitude is a. Okay, this is rectangular t by 2a. Okay, now we'll discuss triangular function. So triangle function also is written like this, tri, okay, g by tau or t. And very important point here, when you compare with rectangle pulse we are giving the total width. G means the total width of the pulse, but in the case of triangular, this t is given as the half width or one side. So that is very important. Sometimes you may be confused with this. So here you can see that the denominator is actually one side width. So the denominator t is actually indicating half width. Okay, total width is 2t, but we will write t. So again, you can see that the function is given 1 minus modulus of t by t, means on the positive side you need to take the function like this, 1 minus, here t is positive, so you'll write t by t. Okay, and you can substitute at t small t. You can try this at t is equal to capital T. The function becomes 1 minus t by t, so you'll get 0. Okay, okay, similarly here the t is negative, so here t is negative, here t is positive. So here t is negative, so the function is given as modulus, so here we will take minus t by t, so it becomes 1 plus t by t. So at t is equal to minus t, if you write, it becomes 1 plus minus t by t, so it becomes 1 minus 1, which is equal to 0. So in this way we can find different values. So it's a triangular behavior. So make sure that you are comfortable with this modulus value. Okay, again here modulus of uh, small t less than capital T means this actually take two values. Okay, modulus of t means less than t means you need to take two values of t, that is t less than capital T and minus t less than capital T. So that's the meaning. So if you rearrange this t less than t, and if you multiply with minus, it becomes t and capital minus t. So at that time you need to change the sign. So you can see that the t value is between minus t and t. So you can write like this: minus t less than t less than capital T. So you can see that the function is between minus t to t. Otherwise, the function magnitude is 0. Okay. Next one is a signum function. It's again an important function. So when you write the signum function, you can see that it's almost similar to a step function when t greater than 0, and when t less than 0, it's minus u of t. Okay, because the amplitude is minus 1. So again, signum function is discontinued at t is equal to 0. So some textbook they will write at t is equal to 0 uh, like this. When t is equal to 0, the function magnitude is 0. Okay, but the function is actually discontinuous at t is equal to 0. So that's why we are making the definition simple: signum of t, okay, sgn of t is equal to 1 for t greater than 0. So the function magnitude is 1 for t greater than 0, and it's minus 1 for t less than 0. So this signum of t is you can write in terms of step like this: 2 u of t minus 1. Okay, so if you plot this particular signal, you will get a function something similar to signum of t. So you also remember this particular formula, because this is useful when you find the Fourier transform of step signal. Okay, so this equation is very important. Okay, or this relationship, okay, signum of t uh, in connection with step. So you can try this by plotting 2 u of t. This is actually u of t is 1 for t greater than 0, and 0 for t less than 0. So if you draw the signal u of t, it will be like this: it's 1, that is u of t. And if you are multiplying with 2, u of t means simply the amplitude becomes 2. Okay, that is 2 u of t. And if you subtract 1 from 2 u of t, so you'll write 2 u of t minus 1, means we need to subtract 1 from the first signal. So here you can see the function magnitude is 0. Okay, so 0 minus 1, so you'll get minus 1. Okay, so for negative values you will get minus 1, and here the magnitude is 2, so 2 minus 1, it becomes 1. So this is the function u of t minus 1. And if you rearrange, you will get the u of t also. Okay, so from this you can write u of t also. U of t is equal to 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 signum of t. Okay. Next function is the sinc function. Don't confuse with signum and sinc. Sinc function, this is a basic shape of the sinc function. I can see that a sinusoidal function is decaying in two sides. Okay, it's also very important when you study signal processing and all, filter and all. So make sure that you are comfortable with the shape of this waveform. Okay, so the sinusoidal waveform is decaying, it's going to infinity, so it is something like this: it's decaying. Here also it's decaying, and finally it's going like this. So there is an oscillation and it goes to infinity. Okay, uh, the sinc function, there is actually two version. Sinc of x is actually defined as sine pi x by pi x. Okay, that is actually sinc. In some textbook, it's also written as sine x by x, uh, but that sine x by x is usually will represent by sa function. Sa of x. Sa means it's sine x by x. Very specifically, if you are writing pi, then it is sine pi x by pi x, that is sinc. Okay, and you can see that both the function follow the same shape. Okay, so only the representation is different. To make it comfortable, sometimes we'll write sa and sometimes sinc. Okay, and if we take sinc function, okay, you can see that this function sinc function, you can see that the function crosses 0 at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Here also -1, -2, -3, -4, etc. So for these values, it will cross the 0 point. Okay, and at t is equal to 0 or x is equal to 0, the function magnitude is 1. Okay, at x is equal to 0, we cannot evaluate this function, so we'll write the L'Hospital rule. So it becomes cos at the numerator, and denominator you will get another term. Okay, so based on that we are evaluating, because sine value is 0 at t is equal to 0 or x is equal to 0, but here you can see 1 because we are applying L'Hospital rule at this particular limit. Okay, so at t is equal to 0 or x axis, when this value is 0, okay, at this particular point the function magnitude is 1. And when you take the sa function, so only one difference, instead of 1, 2, 3, you'll write 1 pi. So this is a sa function. The blue color shows the sa function. Okay. So if you compare with the sinc, the only difference is that it crosses pi. Okay, another point 2 pi, 3 pi, etc. Here it is minus pi, minus 2 pi, etc. So the same function, the crossing points will becomes pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi in the case of sa, and here it is minus pi, minus 2 pi, minus 3 pi, etc. Okay, that's only difference between sa and sinc function. Okay. Both follows the same shape. Okay. So this is all about the basic signal, and all these definitions are useful when you do the problems. Okay, sometimes they will simply write let the function follow a sinc behavior. So at that time you need to write the general equation of sinc and the shape of the waveform. Sometimes they will give a signum function, find the Fourier transform of signum function. At that time you should know the definition of signum. Okay, so make sure that you are comfortable with the definitions. Triangular pulse and rectangle is also very important.